Hey guys, it's Jackie from Jack Gets Lost on a Book Haul, and I thought I would talk about something that's not a book technically. Well, it's actually the original material was a graphic novel, so it does count. But I thought I did this a while back where I did a video where I did a series. I started doing a few videos where I talked about characters that I really liked and their positive and negatives about the characters. Sorry, I was I was like walking really fast upstairs, so I'm a little out of breath. So I thought I would take some of my favorite shows and movies and books and talk about characters that what makes, this is going to be really weird, but because the first one I want to start with, probably you would be thinking, what the hell? Why? Because they're, but characters that I think would be interesting to date. Like what that would be like the positive and negatives. Now, I'm going into a territory of characters that, again, like I said, you guys are probably thinking, what the hell? Why would you even date these characters? They're all nuts. They're all deranged. Well, half of them are deranged. The other half aren't so deranged, but they're damaged. And I'm just gonna say it because, and I'm obsessed with this particular show, so that's why I'm starting with this group of characters first, and that is Gotham. I know, like I said, you're thinking, what the hell? Why would you want to date any of the characters from Gotham? But I mean, I am fascinated by those characters, particularly, of course, the villains. The villains are that's what makes Batman such an intriguing storyline. I mean, even before Gotham, when I was always interested in the Batman Gotham storyline, I mean, of course, I never got into the comic books, but I was interested. I was intrigued via the 90s, the movies that came out in the 90s, and then I saw the Nolan movies a few years ago. Well, more than a few years ago, but several years ago. But, I mean, it's like 10 years. I don't know when Dark Knight came out or when the other one came out, the third, because I think Nolan made a third movie. But I was always interested and intrigued by that storyline, but I just never got around to really diving into that universe until Gotham came along. And then now I'm like, my best friend Terry has educated me more on the characters, and now when she's coming to visit me for our annual convention weekend convention trip. And I told her, I was like, you know what, you're gonna pick out 3 of your favorite comics of my 3 favorite characters on Gotham, and I'm gonna read them. I'm gonna buy them and I'm gonna read them. Because I really do want to start getting into comics, or graphic novels, I should say, because I don't want to read comics, because then I feel like after I read the one comic, I have to get another issue and another issue and another issue. With graphic novels, you have like a complete story, and sometimes more than one story in the graphic novel. So it's not like you have to keep buying comic book issues. And my mom is going to give me enough of a hard time as it is, because I want it, because the last thing my parents want is me to get into collecting comic books. But I want to get into graphic novels. And I do already have 3 as it is. I just haven't really read much of them lately. One of them is a Sirens graphic novel, which is, related to the Batman universe. It's the 3 main female villainesses. It's about them. And you also have, and then I also have one graphic novel that said best friend has been trying to get me into, which is Elf Quest, which is a really good, elf fantastical, a little bit of science fiction story with that. It's really cool. It's like these elves, and they're somewhere. I feel like they're kind of, the way I look at it is, it's a cross between the Middle Earth elves and the elves that people, that make the toys and the cookies and all that stuff. Like the cute one, between the cute ones and the serious ones. It's like somewhere in the middle. And then I have there's a trilogy, The Looking Glass Wars, which is a Alice in Wonderland retelling, and there was the character of the Mad Hatter. He's he's different. He's not as kooky and mad. He's more like, you know, Alice's protector, Princess Alice's protector, and there's a whole graphic novel about him trying to find her because so she ends up in our world, and that's where you get the author writing Alice's story and turning it into this little cute little fairy tale. But so I have that graphic novel, which was actually an accident. I thought it was an actual novel when I had my mom order it for me. But anyway, so I'm going to look at the Batman characters and talk about their good traits and their bad traits and why. And like now, some of them, like I said, it's like what the hell? Why you don't? There's no way you would date any of these characters because there's either the damaged ones or the deranged ones. Not that much of a selection, but I'm gonna do it anyway because it'll be fun, and I'm obsessed with Gotham right now. So, okay, so I'm gonna go back and forth between the good guys and the bad guys. Okay, let's start with the main top billing character in Gotham, and that is Jim Gordon, played by Ben McKenzie in the show. Jim is very honorable. He is a good guy. He is very focused on his job. He's always trying to do the right thing. I mean, he will even save people who don't deserve to be saved. Which brings us to the negative, is that as great as honorable as he is, he's almost too honorable. He is always trying to help people that shouldn't be saved. I mean, and it's like, why are you trying to save this person? This person deserves to die. I mean, as a fan, of course, you don't want any of your favorite characters to die, even the bad guys, because, a lot of the bad guys are fan favorites. And people are thinking, we don't want them to die. But then it's like, but in a practical sense, it's like, why the hell are you saving this person? Why are you reaching out to help this person? They deserve to die. And I'm talking about he tends to offer to help certain villainous characters in the story. But then he's also the other thing is he has a decent job, so you'll have a roof over your head if you date him. You'll be sort of taken care of in a basic level. But it's just, the problem is that he is so focused on his job. It's a dangerous job. He's a cop in Gotham, and Gotham is not the safest place on the planet. I mean, there's a bunch of deranged, crazy psychopaths running around all the time, and crime bosses, and like when the show first started, the crime bosses were running things, and then now it's just getting worse and worse to the point where it's getting to what it is in the comic books, and why we need someone like Bruce Wayne. And it's so he could die. And also, it could, his enemies and Bruce Wayne's enemies / Batman's enemies might use you as a target if you're dating him. But at the same time, he's someone you gotta admire. You gotta admire his bravery. He's willing to stand up to these crazy people, these psychopaths, just as much as Bruce Wayne is. He is willing, Jim Gordon is willing to stand up and fight back. But you gotta decide, is it worth it? Is it worth the risk? So there's, and he's also a good-looking guy. Of course, this is Ben McKenzie. Ben McKenzie and Gary Oldman are both good-looking guys. So, and, Ben McKenzie doesn't look half bad in a mustache. But, yeah, so he's good-looking, too. But then, and, of course, it's probably not enough. I mean, that's obviously not enough. But, like I said, he's honorable and he's loyal. He's a good friend. And of course, the problem is a lot of times he puts his friends in bad positions, and he always puts his belief system. He tends to put his belief systems over them. At times, I'm talking his relationship with Bullock. Sometimes his beliefs and his determination to do the right thing gets in the way of his relationship with Bullock. But then again, Bullock is a bit of a do the lesser evil, do the thing that, do the thing that the best which is not always the best solution. It's not the most moral solution. And Jim is anything, if he's anything, he's very moral. He's honorable and moral, and he's loyal. So those are positive traits, but when it comes to Gotham, sometimes they can bite him in the ass. Okay, so next, I want to talk to you about, now let's go to the villain side. Let's talk about the first villain from the original comic, the original material that was introduced, and that is the Penguin, aka Oswald Cobblepot. First, let's start by saying, with Oswald, you are very well taken care of. I mean, the man is really rich. And he's also, he can also be a gentleman. At times, of course. He will also, if you piss him off and make, and give him reason to, and hurt his feelings and give him reason to hate you, then he'll just get rid of you, put you back where you belong. He won't keep you. Because there's actually a comic issue, a graphic novel that Terry introduced me to, where he found this girl in the gutter, took her in, but then she kind of crossed the line in his eyes. But as long as you don't, see, that's the problem with these villains. I mean, there is a line that you gotta be careful about crossing. But there is one particular villain that I don't know if there's any positives about him whatsoever in this series, out of the major ones in the Gotham version of the storyline. There's this one in particular that I don't know if there's any positives at all, but I'm gonna look at that character in a little while. But he's, so you're well taken care of, and he's an honorable, and he's a mama's boy. And a lot of times those mama boys are very gentlemanly, and they are well brought up, And I think as long as you don't piss him off too much, I mean, like I said, that's with most of the Batman villains, then you'll be okay. And like I said, as of who's playing him right now in the show, he is cute too. He's very cute. But of course, in the original material, he looks like a bird. He has a pointed nose, and he's overweight. He smokes a cigar, and he, has the monocle and everything. And so in the comics, I don't know if you necessarily would call him attractive. But in the show, the younger version, Robin Lord Taylor's version, he is very attractive. So like I said, let me differentiate. In the Gotham story, in the show Gotham, he's attractive. But in the original material, I don't know if you would consider him attractive. Now, in the Tim Burton film, he's very pervy. So, but I don't know. I would have to ask someone if he gets pervy in the original material. But, I mean, well, I guess he kind of does, because I know that he does have women that like him for his money, that hang on him. He has them, but he doesn't, I don't know if he actually cares about these women in any way. So, and if there's anyone who's a fan of the Batman Gotham universe, please don't get mad at me, because like I said, I have not read the comics. So I'm going more by the Gotham version of things. So, but I do know some information from the comic, because my friend, like I said, my friend Terry has educated me. Let's see, what else? And it's very hard. Like, with, this, he has a cool club. I like the Iceberg Lounge. I think that's really cool. Free drinks and stuff like that. But, like I said, he's a bit of a gentleman. I mean, he can be when he wants to be, and as long as you don't provoke him and piss him off. And he's, well off. You're very financially taken care of. And you're well protected. He will make sure, if you are his girl, you will be well protected. I see him as the type that would protect what belongs to him very thoroughly. But you might not like his methods, though. Because his methods probably can get really violent. And then there's the fact that he's trying to stay within the bounds of the legal system, but he's still a criminal, and he's a mob boss. So, but this is Gotham we're talking about. I mean, there's only like a handful of people that are actually decent people. Okay, so I think for now, I mean, unless you guys want me to, if you guys like this video and want me to, I think I'll probably stick with the male characters because I am a straight woman, so I have no attraction to Selena or like Lee Tompkins or anything like that. But if you do want me to if you are interested, I will talk about those characters I can do another video and I'll talk about the female characters. That, if I was attracted to girls, which ones I would date, or which ones I think are. But, okay, so let's move on. Okay, so let's go ahead and go to Bullock. Harvey Bullock is Jim's partner on the show. He's not I think from what Terry has said, he's not as likable in the comics. I mean, maybe people still like him. I don't know, but I don't think she does. He's a corrupt cop. That's one of the bad things. And he's an alcoholic. He drinks a lot. So there's a lot of bad points. But at least he has a job. He has a good job, so you'll have a roof over your head. And again, he's another one that's I feel like is kind of cute, And that's the Gotham version. That's Donald Logue, not the comic book. But and I think, like, as far as the show, he really does care about Jim, and he's very loyal. He's always trying to protect Jim, so he's a good friend. Like, and, both him and Jim are good friends, and they really care about each other. And I think, as of the show, I think he's a decent cop. He's a corrupt cop, yes, but I think there are times when he's actually a decent cop. And in the show, as of the current season, he has sacrificed himself a couple times for Jim. And he's also really funny, too. It's good to have a sense of humor in a relationship. And he's also sweet. Like, we've seen him with love and potential love interest, and he actually is a sweet guy, I think he would be a decent boyfriend as long as you look past the fact that he's a bit of a corrupt cop. But, I mean, I am going by Gotham. I know I keep repeating myself, but I really want to clarify to people that I am going by the show Gotham. I'm mostly going by that. I know a little bit of the graphic novels, but not a lot. So he has more negatives to him than positives, but he's not bad. He's not the worst. I mean, like, I haven't even got to the guy that I think is the worst, but I still like his character. But that's just that I like his character. But I'm sure, I don't know if you all know who I'm talking about yet. But okay, so let's go next to Riddler. Riddler he's highly intelligent, and again, the actor who plays him, is very cute. I hope you guys don't get annoyed that I keep pointing out that these characters are attractive and very good looking, because, again, I'm going by the actors who play them in the show, so. He's highly intelligent. And he's very clever. So that's definitely positive, and I've always had a thing for intelligent, clever characters. That's why, even before I knew even when I just knew from the movies that came out in the 90s, Batman Forever was my favorite because of the Riddler character. I was a huge fan of Jim Carrey. Now, I know, of course, a lot of people who grew up with the comics, who read the comics, were not pleased with Jim Carrey's performance. But in his defense, I think we shouldn't get mad at him as an actor. First of all, that's one of the things he's good at. That's one of his specialties, is comedy. And who knows, maybe, in his defense, maybe Joel Schumacher told him to do that. And I think this was early in his career anyway. He was just getting onto the scene. And so he was doing what he does best. But if you've seen movies like Number 23, then I think he is very capable of playing that role. He just never gets a chance to really play the darker side of Riddler. I think he could. Plus, that whole Batman movies, from what I can tell, they were going for a more cheesy comic book feel to them, I feel like. Of course, it's coming from a girl who has never read a comic book in her life, but from what I know, and what I've been told, I feel like that's kind of what they were going for, like, very cheesy Like, especially there's a scene in Batman, in the last movie, I think, or no, it is in Batman Forever, when that some of the dialogue, even I was just rolling, I was like, seriously? That is so, like, it's just, I don't even remember what the line was, but it was so ridiculous. And again, I think, and before, as in the Gotham version of things, he was really very sweet as Enigma before he became the Riddler. He was actually really sweet, and like he really cares and stuff. And so, unfortunately, him becoming the Riddler kind of ruins things a little bit. It made him do great, but unfortunately, I think a lot of these characters, a lot of the villains started as actually decent human beings. Well, some of them it's debatable, but they actually turned out to, a lot of them, before they went all crazy and became the Batman villains we know, they actually, some of them, I think they were actually kind of decent, decent human beings, really sweet and stuff. And Riddler was one of them. Ed Enigma was actually at one time a good guy, just the guy who got bullied and taken advantage of, and most of them are like this. And but what can I say? He's a sharp dresser too. I love, of course, my three favorites, I think, are all kind of sharp dressers. I mean, some of them are dressed in one of them dresses in really outrageous colors, and I'm sure you all knew who I'm talking about. Okay, that was really bad. That was so stupid. That was a really bad smile. But either way, I think all three of those guys are very sharp dressers, I think. Let's see. Is there any more? What else can I say about Riddler? Like I said, he's very smart. I think he's a sharp dresser. At one time, he actually was a really sweet guy. The problem is, like Penguin, he has a bit of a temper. If you piss him off, especially, or if you try to prove yourself to be more intelligent than him, or critique or criticize his intelligence, that he will not be happy. He will not thank you for that. Okay, this video is getting, I just noticed I'm looking at the time, and this video, I might have to stop this video and just continue in another video. Okay, let me do one more character. Okay, so that's really all I can say about Riddler. Then the next character, I'm just going to go to the main guy in the show. Our Dark Knight, the Dark Knight himself. Bruce Wayne, aka Batman. Again, another character that you would financially be well taken care of. You have a great living space. I mean, he lives in a mansion, for crying out loud. And I think he's very passionate. He's a very passionate guy. And, of course, currently, although he's, unfortunately, in the show, he's only a teenager. He's not the Bruce Wayne we know. So it's I feel weird. I don't know if it's okay that I talk about this character because I'm not a teenager myself. And I don't want to seem like I'm hitting on a 17-year-old. But yeah, you would be well taken care of. And he's a really sweet guy, and he really cares about the people he loves. But he has been through so much, and he's very tortured soul type. And he attracts a lot of enemies. So like Jim Gordon, you would, if you were involved in him, you would become a target and probably become one of his enemies. Will probably capture you and use you as bait to lure him. But he's also he's very good, but he's a very good guy. He's very honorable, and I think he's really sweet. But he's got a lot of demons, metaphorically and in a way you could argue literally. But, you kind of want to take care of him in a way. You want to protect him from his demons. But of course you can't because you probably couldn't, you might not survive unless you know how to defend yourself. And he's got a lot of cool cars and toys. And he's really, again, another character that's really, really smart. He's incredibly smart. And he doesn't need magical powers to fight off his enemies. He might only win by a thin line, by by a small chance he might win defeating his enemies, but he usually defeats them, I think. Well, I mean, he's still alive to this day, so I'm assuming, yeah. But there are times when his enemies do succeed him, just not in the way you expect. Like, not in a way that he dies. But yeah, so, okay, well, I'm gonna have to stop there. This video, of course, I shouldn't be surprised because there are a lot of characters in this universe that I could look at, and then I could do go back and forth between the good things and the bad things. Okay, so, if you guys like this video and were interested in me talking about this, please give me a thumbs up and click subscribe if you haven't already. And for those of you guys that are subscribing already, I love you guys, and I hope you don't mind me I hope you guys don't mind me talking about something other than books. And I will talk to you guys later. Alright, bye.